Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Counsel's Table. In today's episode, we have my friend and the best investigator in Houston, in my opinion, Kevin Pipkins. Kevin, how are you, brother?
Thank you, Tommy. I'm great. It's a good day. Sitting here with a couple great lawyers. What do you want to know?
Awesome. Well,
a couple means two, so that means
so somebody's
me
left
and
out.
Tommy Kherkher.
Yeah, it's always
Omar in the
been
corner.
the Will and Tommy show minus Omar, you know? It's all right, though.
don't sell yourself short.
You know, I'm going to have him come check out some background on you guys and wait till you bring up some real dirt.
Sure, he's already done it.
But Kevin, I think what the listeners at home can get out of this, and the purpose of today's episode, is how can lawyers utilize investigators? Plaintiff lawyers, defendant lawyers, defense lawyers. How, from what you have seen, where are lawyers making mistakes? When should you be involved? When you're not? When, and vice versa? When shouldn't you get involved? When lawyers are insisting that they hire you? What are the best practices for hiring an investigator? That's what we want to know. That's what we want to get into.
Great question. Okay, so our agency, Pipkins Investigation, is one of the largest investigation companies in Texas. We work for 3,000 clients across the country, some international. So the best thing about a larger agency is that we have people ready to go anytime you need them, wherever you need them, whatever part of the country you need them, whatever specialty you need. We have that quality of person. There are some other great investigators in town, but most of them are one-man shops, they were former law enforcement, previous insurance, or some background when they're working off their kitchen table, which doesn't mean they're not a good investigator. It just means that they don't have the resources, the scope, and the skills, the multiple skills that we have, different types of investigators. So and when you choose someone to do your work, you could get away with that kind of person. There's nothing wrong with hiring that kind of person, but you really want someone who has all the skill sets for you, depending on no matter what kind of case you have, whether it's dram shop or premise liability, timber walk, straight up car wreck, whatever you need a person with that skill set. Most of you guys recognize that the biggest problem where most people lose their case right off the bat is a failure to go to the scene right after it happens. And sometimes that's not your fault. Sometimes the client doesn't call you, or if you're a defense lawyer, you don't get the file. Will knows this. You don't get the file for 6 months after the accident happened. So sometimes that's not your fault. But as soon as you have the opportunity, putting boots on the ground is imperative. It's absolutely imperative. Not only boots on the ground, but Jesus, don't send your paralegal. Send somebody as a former cop that's been doing investigation for 20 years, knows how to get to a scene. If they interact with law enforcement or other people in the scene, they know how to deal with that relationship that's going on. Let's take a car wreck case, for example. There's nowadays in the modern world, there's tons of cameras everywhere. There's ring cameras, security cameras. There's vehicles now have dash cams. My car has a dash cam. If you have a new model car, your car's got a dash cam on it. So there are many, many places to go find video of what happened. It's imperative. And if you wait, like for most home units, it's 7 to 14 days retention on the camera. Some commercial cameras, security cameras, might have 30 to 60 days. So if you don't hustle out there, you're going to lose that video that you could have captured.
Well, sometimes we do want to lose that video, right?
Yeah. Well,
we don't want that video to be seen.
But I also get hired by the defendant, so maybe he wants me to get out there.
No, of course I'm joking. But
Yeah. But that is the most critical, because most other things can be done in time. The other thing that I see happen is that lawyers are trained to go to law school. Some of them have really good people skills, but some of them don't. So it's great for the lawyer to go to the scene. You guys, I don't know how you try a big case without going out there and looking at it, because it gives you a perspective that no report I write could ever write. But when you have the initial scene, send somebody who is used to interacting with people, blue collar people, Uber drivers, all kind of ordinary people. And that's why we suggest that you hire an investigator to go do it. Not only that, when you go talk to them the first time, they say, I'll call you back. And then somebody has to bird dog that witness. Well, you guys got all kinds of stuff going on, trial preparation, discovery motions. You need somebody that's got the time and the resources to do that. So that's what I see lawyers do all the time. They either say, oh, we'll get to that later, or I just got the case. I don't know what to do. I don't want to spend the money, which is a fair decision to be made. But cases get lost right in the very beginning because the initial work's not done. We go get the 911 calls right off the bat. We find the people who called in for 911. Now, those people, that memory is fresh in their mind right now. We know where they are. They're motivated to help. In 6 months, it's going to be like, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to participate. I got to show up for a deposition. I don't want to do all that. So that is the biggest problem that I see, not just on the plaintiff side, but also you see the adjusters, not so much general counsel, they'll do it, but people just don't want to spend money up front. And then they're 6 months or a year into the case, that evidence is gone. Those people are missing, the skid marks on the ground, the indentations, the yaw marks made by the vehicles, the camera footage that was there, the witness who was standing outside at the car repair shop saw it. Well, now we can't identify him because there's no way to track down who that was. So the biggest problem both sides make, sometimes for good reason, for money or for authority to move forward, that's the biggest problem. And also, then you hire somebody that doesn't have the qualified people to go do that, or they don't have enough people to go do it. So that's the biggest thing that I see, both plaintiff and defense, that doesn't get done.
Let's unpack some of that. First off, the lawyer audience doesn't know what they don't know. And if they get trapped in I hire an investigator to talk to a witness, and that's what they think investigators do, or run a background check on a claimant, and that's all they know. That's the world of their knowledge.
Right.
What would you say when you use the word specialty, use the word we have multiple skills? Tell our audience what Pipkins has from a specialty standpoint and a multiple skills standpoint.
That's a great question, Will. So the first thing that we have is what everybody knows about, which is the EDR download. That's a black box. So everybody knows about the black box. Most cars since 2011 have some capability to download the black box. So that gets erased after a series of episodes that happen to the vehicle. That will get erased. So you have to move quickly to download the black box from that vehicle. The other thing, the newest technology in vehicle information is called BERLA. And BERLA came out of the Ford Firestone D-Tread cases. You guys are young. Maybe you don't remember all those.
Our prior guest.
Okay.
When you go back in the inventory of these shows, Hunter Craft.
Yeah.
So yes, we did quite a bit of Explorer rollover tire.
In those cases, the Ford people started coming out with an infotainment system. And most people don't realize when you sit down in the car, they go, oh, would you like to sync your phone with the car? People go, yeah, sure. I get all my music. I get all my contacts. Everything's in the car. Well, guess what? Everything's in the car. So we recently won a dram shop case because the person saying, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where I'd been, I'm drunk, or they won't tell us. When you download the infotainment system from BERLA, it tells you every location that car's been for years.
BERLA, I don't know what that is. Say, our audience, we
BERLA
don't know. Well,
it's an
guess
acronym.
what? One of the members of this show doesn't know.
BERLA is the software. We call it infotainment, and it works like EDR. You go up to the computer, you plug in your cable, it downloads all the data from the infotainment system. So the black box is a different system.
Yeah. Is it just for Fords?
Every car.
Okay. So for those that know, there's an EDR, Bosch retrieval tool, plug it in, you get speeds and braking, steering inputs, seatbelt use, Delta V, all that for later use.
Yep.
And the benefit of hiring someone like you to get that is they don't have to hire the $800 an hour engineer to put a pair of coveralls on and stand around in a salvage yard for 10 hours, charging you 10 Gs. They can hire you guys to do it.
But we'll get the data and provide it to you. It's the same data whether we download it or the $800
Yeah, prints out a PDF.
You can't change it.
You got it. It's got it. Right. Everybody, what I get is what everybody gets. So,
and your guys can, if somebody challenged later about authenticity and the manner and methods, I mean, you guys can,
Absolutely.
hey, we know we're certified.
We've done hundreds of these. We know what we're doing.
All right.
Absolutely.
Now, go back to the computer stuff that's different than that. I think everybody knows black box, but people aren't paying enough attention to other identifiers that are available.
Well, what the main thing that BERLA does that will help you is to establish a pattern of life. I don't know if I can tell you about the case, but it's imperative.
Don't tell us about the case.
Right, I can't tell you. But it's imperative that we knew all the places where this person had been, and maybe where they're hiding evidence or who they had been to see. So we got the infotainment system, and it tracks the data points for where this person has been.
So it's like locations data that's on our phones.
Exactly, from your phone.
Same thing.
Except that data is married with the speed of your car. So remember, if you got a phone, if you say the person's on the phone, they're talking on the phone when the crash happened. You get the black box and the crash happens at 7:02. You look at your phone. Yep, they're on the phone at 7:02. Well, how do you marry those up? You can't really marry those two because the phone and the EDR are not together. The infotainment system is same software, same time, date stamp, same everything. You can tell that they're pushing the buttons on the phone.
How do I get that? Hire you to go plug something in?
And only select people have Burla subscriptions. The manufacturers only limit it to people. You have to have credentials to be able to download it. You have to assure the Burla people that you're not going out and stealing people's data. You're not breaking in cars and hooking up.
How do you do that?
You have to be licensed, like investigators are.
Are y'all licensed for Burla?
We are. And we own a subscription to download the Burla system.
This is BERLA. I'm going to Google this later.
Do the acronym.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Look at locations data, look at wearables, try to get that stuff. I haven't thought about Burla because I didn't know about it until about 4 minutes ago.
Right.
Although my car the other day said recommended commute because I go to the same coffee place every morning, and it thought that's where my place of business was. So it just,
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It's bad when mine came up with Pizza Hut one time, and I was like,
Yeah.
Well, Burla's not perfect. The software's 5 to 10 years old, the extraction of it, so sometimes you download it and you get gobbledygook, you don't get everything. But when you do get a full download, man, you get a full download.
Well, how do you get it on your client's car? If I hire you to go to my client's car, easy breezy. But what if I got an opponent's car that's sitting at a salvage yard? How do y'all do that? Jump the fence and plug it in? Or to get a subpoena or what?
Not without
permission, but that's okay.
Yeah, you have to get, that's one of the things that Burla requires, that we're not going to break the law and go, secret into people's car and steal their data from their car.
So what about, like now it's a Bluetooth connection to the infotainment system instead of having to actually plug it in?
Well, your phone works off that, but the data extraction requires a cable.
Okay.
When you want to extract the data, you have to go to the car. And sometimes cars are wrecked, so you have to get power to the car. Sometimes they're damaged. You have to work with the vehicle that might be damaged. Just like a black box, same problem can happen with an EDR download.
My question was just more so, is the Burla still acting the same way whether it's plugged in or Bluetooth?
Yes.
No matter what,
It's syncing the data from your phone.
Yeah.
And it's also GPS tracking, because your car's got its own GPS tracking system itself. So it's tracking data from the car and gives a history of everywhere the car has been.
Dram shop cases.
Where were you last?
Yeah, because golly, I don't remember. Or I'm taking the 5th.
That's right.
Or I'm dealing with a last bar, multiple bar service claim.
That's right.
You can track it out.
Every bit of it.
Oh.
Every bit of it. Not only that, in a car wreck. If they get in a car wreck and you look back through their history, well, they came from the bar. Well, you didn't know that. They didn't tell you that.
What's the memory of that? How long does it preserve that evidence?
Years.
So it'll be there. Wait, it's just stored on the computer somewhere? It's not on the phone.
As long as the hard drive of the box will keep it, it's stored.
We're learning so much during this podcast,
Yeah. Also, in divorce cases, be careful where you were.
Right. So don't sync your phone.
So you're telling me to Uber?
Yeah. Well,
they can get you there too, bro.
Uber may have it too.
We're all,
Or they'll pull your app and they'll know where you were.
It's like, will drive me around.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal piece of software, and we're one of the. There are other experts that have it, but we're one of the people that are downloading it. Usually I have 2 guys that are qualified to be experts in car crash and reconstruction. Most of the role that we fill is, so things like Burla and EDR, if I collect that data, you've got to give that up. You have to disclose that. But the role that we have with both plaintiff and defense is that I'm a work product investigator. I'm a consulting expert, or I'm a work product investigator. So all the evidence I collect is yours to protect. I can make some mistakes. I can take a hostile statement that you have to disclose because I took a statement from a witness who said negative things. So you have to hire investigators that know the discovery rules. And the discovery rules are, if I interview a witness and I tell you his name and address, you have to disclose his name and address. But if I don't take a video or audio or a statement, then all you have to do is disclose the name of that person.
Is that your default position, is to talk to them first to see if they have good or bad things to say?
I know the facts of the case well, and I know these are great facts for your case, I take a statement. If I don't, I call you. I go, Will, he says this and this and this. Does this help you? No, I don't want to create evidence, which is really what your investigator does. If you got a police report, you got a video, you got that evidence you have to live with, good or bad, however it is. But your investigator goes out and creates evidence to help you win your case. So why would you create negative evidence. You don't have to do that. There's no requirement that you have to take a recorded statement. There's no requirement that you have to write down a statement. There's no requirement for you to do that.
And I found some investigators that are legacy from a claims department just can't wait to record everything because that's the habits they're in.
Right.
And my instructions were don't. And then I got a recorded statement that was discoverable.
And you had to live with it.
And
you had to live
produce
with it. That's right. And you wrote a big check because somebody did that.
Because
right?
you have much more of a team approach. One, it doesn't matter whose team you're playing for. You do both sides, and that's important for this show because we're a both sides show.
Right.
You do your phone rings. You're going to work hard for people to call you. You're not playing if you're not defendant. You're forensic science.
I'm going to follow the
evidence, let's
rules.
go
I'm
get
not
it.
going to cheat. I'm not going to do anything underhanded. But I am going to advocate for your case. I'm going to try to find witnesses that help you win. And if I find negative witnesses, then we just, we tell you, you have to disclose it. But they have to go out and do their job.
How do you get ring footage?
How to get ring
I
footage?
got a neighborhood crash, a significant crash, or not even neighborhood, commercial. And the old security cameras, you guys would go out and look, I guess, and you'd look and see who had a security camera and try to get it.
Yep.
I mean, was it still some grunt work, still some footwork?
Right.
But how do we, and knowing that I got an intersection crash at Montrose and Richmond right here?
Yeah.
Right.
How would you know to say, let's go see what we got?
First off, go back to what I just talked about. That's get there within 7 to 14 days of the crash, because ring is 7, 10. Some people pay for 30, but most people don't pay for more than that in their subscription. So get there quickly. But then once you do, you run into all kind of problems. The old lady that doesn't want to let you get into their house, let you do that. So we carry a spoliation letter in our pocket. To whom it may concern. You've got evidence in our case. You're required to protect this evidence. It's a long letter about all the metadata and all the things you're supposed to do. Well, basically, we tell, look, hey, this puts you in a position where you might be sued, probably not, but you're going to get in trouble if you don't hold on to this evidence. And that spoliation letter goes right out. If we still get pushback from the person, then we get with you, we get a subpoena, we do whatever we've got to do if we think that ring camera's got critical evidence.
Can you TRO a non-parties to keep their stuff?
I'm sure. Yeah,
I don't know why you can't.
Sure, you could.
I'm sure not. Why can't you?
Yeah, but I mean, most times.
Luckily, we're sweet talkers. Okay, I can.
Well, that goes
Last
to your
resort.
I'm getting coffee by the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and not to retreat to an earlier comment, but you said hire us because of the busyness and everything else. Folks that are working hard for a living would much prefer talking to people that work hard for a living than a lawyer showing up.
That's right.
You
That's
say,
right.
ding dong, I'm a lawyer, you just got closed down.
That's right. Right, and I because most of the investigators come from a little more of a blue collar background than you guys do. So it's just a natural, and they've been an insurance adjuster, they've been a cop, they used to dealing with people all the time,
So there's a gas station, a library, a pub, and in this corner here. Like you would just go, knock on the
Every
door and
single
say,
one of
hey,
them.
man,
Yes.
keep your hard drive around.
Yes,
Here's
I'm
a
conducting
spoliation
an
letter.
investigation. I got a fatality crash. You got a camera. I want it. How do I do it?
Do they give it to you?
Yeah, about 75% of the time.
Yeah.
We go, and not only that, the best thing to do is go back to their system, turn it on, put my phone up, and record it right off of that screen. That moment, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. By the time they got legal, everybody jacked around with it. Oh God, we lost the video. Well, I got it on my phone. It's not the best quality. It's not the finest, the real download raw data. But I got it on my phone. That moment, it's not gone.
It's enough. It's enough to work.
You can see the car
yeah.
crash. You can see who was at fault. You see the turn signals. You see who stopped, who ran the red light. You can get all that. So we train all of our people. The moment you see that video, if the manager of the gas station will take you back to his computer, I've done this. I can't count how many 100 times this happened. I've gone to a facility and they said, so go back and show me. The very first thing I do is turn my camera on my cell phone and record the screen. So, like I say, it's not the finest quality, but it's good enough to show what happened.
Yeah,
Then we go through do I got to subpoena it? It's Shell. It's okay, legal calls me. I tell them call Will. And then you say, look, I'm going to bring you in my suit. If you don't give me my, they don't want to mess with you. Just give you the footage. Make sure they follow protocol. But for people at their house, we just have to convince them you're doing the right thing. Either that or threaten them, one or the other, whatever works. Most people want to do the right thing. They don't want me bugging them. I'm like, just give me the video and I'm gone. Okay, you don't really want to be tied up in this case.
And you've seen more residential homes. I mean, granted, you got to be in a neighborhood for the crash to happen, but you're starting to see a lot more ring cameras and actually
security cameras
on the
are
house.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody has to put up security cameras, so they are everywhere. I've had retention on cameras as long as 6 months.
Wow.
I've had a brand new strip center went up. They put in this big spanking security camera. We got the case about 4 months later. Typical, man, this is not going to be any security camera. Top-notch line of cameras, 6 months worth of retention in a big server. And there was the whole crash. And there was the plaintiff pull over, get out of the car, crawl underneath the car, look at his damage. Then he reached in the back trunk, got some stuff out of the trunk, and then he
Sounds
sued.
like he was hired by defense.
Then he sued my client.
Yeah.
I'm so injured.
There you go.
So anyway, I'll do it the other way. Whatever came on the camera, I can't help that. I can't control what came out of the camera. But the point is that we went 4 months after the accident, and there was the footage. And so you never know until you go do that.
How many providers? So there's, like, if you have a commercial auto case, trucking case, I've got one now where I didn't have my camera plugged in.
Ooh.
And of course, I don't believe them.
Yeah.
That's back cloud-based now, pretty much exclusively,
Yeah.
right? It's not like an SD card anymore. Maybe?
The big carriers are cloud-based, but some of them are still SD-driven, and all the big carriers have them in their unit. Is it possible that the one-off thing quit working and nobody fixed it? Yeah, but all the larger carriers they're on that.
They are. Their underwriters are requiring it. And the insurers they're getting a discounted premium because they say put a camera in.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot.
Make sure Omar doesn't sue us in a case that we didn't do anything wrong.
Where they put the tape over the inward-facing camera,
Yeah.
And I found out, I think through you, Kevin, where it's like, hey, there's nothing on that side where you should be seeing it, but then you see in the corner where it says LYTX, and it says and they're like, that just means something was over and the camera was functioning.
That's
They
right.
blocked it out.
Really?
So,
That's right.
and that's something I learned through the investigation, and so it's very important because you're like, oh, nothing was there, wasn't paying too close of attention, so it's important, yeah.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Because we see so many of them, when little things like that go wrong, we're like, no, that doesn't fit. That's a square hole. We're trying to put a round peg in it. That won't fit. That doesn't jive. We've had them turned over where there's no sound on the camera. When we got the video, like, well, there's sound on that camera. That model camera has sound, and they don't record without the sound on. So all kinds of little things that happen like that people us who do these hundreds and hundreds of these, and we collect all this stuff from a work product standpoint. Where I collect it, I give it to you. You guys know the rules of discovery. You know what you have to disclose, and I'm never an advocate for if the rules say disclose it, give it up.
Well, we go back 15 years, and it was, do you do a download on an ECM on a trucking case? Remember those days?
Yep.
Because you either didn't want to know what's going to happen,
Right.
You're not, or you harvest it, or like you said, so many cycles it overwrites. So a big longitudinal delta V, it'll wake up and over-record the old ones.
That's right.
Do I take it out and do a bench download and find out what's here, or just let it go? If I don't go get it, I don't have to. I think now it's a
then
little
you run the
different.
risk of them claiming that the reason why you didn't do it.
Now
was
it's spoliation because now it's so universal, so ubiquitous. It's there. We all know it's there. Go get it.
It's commonly done, and if you didn't, there's something wrong.
Well, and so you guys can provide, instead of, again, hiring a expert to go out, you guys manage that data. Like, how do you preserve it in a way where there's a chain of custody issue?
Okay.
Because no one can say, well, I got the PDF from Bosch and it says Delta V is 32. How do I know that's the one? Like, what do you do to preserve the evidence in that? Preserve the chain of custody.
As you said, EDR is what it is. If I download it, if he downloads it, that's all the same. And infotainment, Burla, is the same. The cell phone mirror, we do cell phone mirrors also. So the cell phone data is the same, no matter who downloads it. Now we have a higher level of the Celebrite software than most people have, but the basic download is available in the basic software.
It's either there or not there. Because the old days, it was someone you had to have Bosch certified technician go out because there was a risk of somebody not doing it right.
That's right.
Is that still the case or no?
No. It's all fairly universal. The downloads are getting much more universal, and in the case of Burla, there are models that don't have it capable. There are models that when you download it, a lot of times you don't get the data, you just don't get it, or you get a limited sample of what's off there. So this software is not perfect, and it'll just get better and better as time goes on, as more vehicles have that software, as more this technology in the vehicle is compatible with different phone models. It's just getting better and better and better as time goes on. But it's not 100%. But when it's there, it's irrefutable. It is. And then you go back. So, for example, you have a dram shop case. You want to know where they were. You don't know where they were. They were at Buffalo Wild Wings, 2 hours before. Well, you go to Buffalo Wild Wings. They got all the camera footage from Buffalo Wild Wings that you didn't know about. So then we do the camera drill with that facility and get their camera footage. There they are, 20 drinks, 10 drinks, whatever, no drinks. Whatever.
I do. We try not to tell too many war stories, but you have one that's really good on a dram shop case of how you found out one company, I won't name names, was pouring extra shots than what they were telling you. Can you tell us that story? I love that story.
Well, my favorite one is big plaintiffs guy in town. You guys all know him. They were at happy hour. They make these big drinks and they pour. They have a formula that they use, and they pour this, shot of this, shot of that, shot of this. So, but at happy hour they double it, just to get you going, get you warmed up, get you a little bit more liquored up, and so you buy another one.
Why can't we learn the name of this place? I'd like to find out where it is.
Well, let me tell the person let me tell the person that I work for, and he can tell you. But then we sent one of my investigators is a former crime scene investigator, so we went to the bar at happy hour, ordered the drink, poured the bar in a sample cup, and sent it off for a sample to test the real alcohol level that was in that drink.
Yeah.
So we did a number of samples, collected it, and it's like 3 times what the bartender says. Oh no, I always stick by this formula. I only pour 1 shot of this. I only pour 1 shot of that. It makes this drink. Well, when you go actually take a sample of them, like no, that's 3 times what they're testifying that they're giving to you. So it's clever. I love clever legal work. I love it. I mean, you guys come up with ideas, crazy ideas that we don't always think of, but we're in. If you got a good crazy idea to go win a case, we'll.
But I just love that you went out, had some people go out and actually test it, and that makes your dram shop case right there. You're over-serving this person, and it's without a doubt. Not only you're over-serving, now you're lying.
Right.
And so I'm sure that case settled.
It did, and I haven't done one of these in a year or so, but I've probably done 30 or 40. Go to the bar, take a team, take a camera, and then one person is pouring their drinks out, but the other guys is, okay, it's 7:05. Here's 1 drink. Set it down, chit chat around, order another one. 7:12. Here's another one, and then we count 19 drinks in like 2 hours. 19's too high, but. You see what I'm saying? And then you get the bartender to testify. Well, no, I have limit. We have this rules that we're supposed to follow. I never serve 12 drinks in an hour. Well, here's a video. Look at this video of my investigator who was sick the next day because they drank.
Called in sick.
Yeah. We bill you for the next 8 hours.
Occupational hazard.
You get billed for the next day, okay?
There you go.
How's your relationship with HPD?
It's good. They're struggling.
And I say that from the standpoint of, I think you guys, again, when you're doing investigations, having a connection with local law enforcement, sheriffs, Harris County sheriffs, and wherever. You have a case of me now where we had to go to Square County, West Texas, and butter up a state trooper.
And it worked, they gave you all the evidence.
A Texas Ranger.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the Ranger had to call, because we're friends with the Ranger. He had to call that sheriff, and then when we showed up, we're all buddies. And
they wouldn't talk to me. And frankly, I don't. As a lawyer, my advice is I don't want to talk to him either. Because if I got to depose him, I want to say for the first time we just met.
For some reason, cops don't like lawyers. I don't know why that is.
But you have a relationship with law enforcement that assists your efforts furthering your clients' outcomes.
That's right. Coffee talk. It's really, this is just my opinion, but HPD is really struggling. They used to be one of the top agencies. I started in this business in 1982. And HPD was a fine organization, but just over the years, now when we request something through normal channels, it's 6 months to get your records back. And when you try to get cooperation, man, if you don't know somebody, I've got some premise cases, some murders and some violent crimes on the apartments and grocery stores. It's tough to get them to help you because they're overloaded, they're overworked. The vehicular crimes is understaffed by hundreds of
I think on body cams, they don't want to release it for whatever 1984 claims or whatever civil rights actions that might exist.
Right.
Harris County sheriffs, you make a FOIA request for body cam, it's uploaded within 3 days. Houston PD, hardworking men and women, they're saying at least a year.
Yeah.
And there can't be a situation that Harris County sheriffs can have the raw footage uploaded in a link
Right.
The second the check clears in 3 days, yet we wait on HPD for a year. That shows a lack of want to produce the information.
It
But can y'all help grease the wheels on that?
a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. It's really, I don't want to overpromise on that because it's really who we
This is all being recorded, Kevin Pipkins.
Yeah, I know. It's really if we have a relationship with, I've done a bunch of premise murder cases, so we know some of the homicide guys. We deal with vehicular crime, so we know some of the vehicle crimes people. So, it's really, if I don't know those guys, and I don't know every one of them, we don't know every one of them, it's really, we have to convince them that, how do we get around this? Well, maybe I got to get a subpoena.
Okay.
And direct a subpoena down there. Because if you just go through the records people, they're just going to follow protocol. We know the records people all the time, but they getting thousands and thousands of these requests, and they know other people.
That's
too,
right. And busybodies and FOIA and open records, I get that. For the non-lawyers Freedom of Information Act, you can send a request to a public agency and get official documentation that's
Right.
not preserved for whatever AG, Attorney General's hold because of a criminality issue or an investigation issue. And we're supposed to be able to get that as citizens. And
It's a
again,
joke.
Harris County Sheriff, tip your cap, 3 days, it's uploaded.
Yeah, and so when I started in the 80s, AG had a group of lawyers in their office. And I remember being a kid going to a clerk's office in East Texas, and I went up there, and the clerk told me I can't have these records. I go, what do you mean you can't have records? You're the clerk of the court. It's So I wrote a letter to the AG, and the AG lawyer called me back. Goes, what's the story? I go, I'm at this clerk, and I told him I want records. I go, why can't he have them? She goes, I told him I can't have them. He called the clerk and said, hey, did he submit a request? Yeah, well, he's coming up tomorrow. You give it to him. That would never happen today.
No.
Never. They just rubber stamp anything that law enforcement sends. We've won a few of them, but it's just the climate of, hopefully things will change in the near future. We're working with the DA and law enforcement to at least work a relationship out where, look, if you got a video, it's a video. Produce partial parts of your file that are prima facie that you're going to disclose anyway. So they got their own game going on the criminal prosecution and criminal defense side. So usually we are there going, look, you got a murder at an apartment or a car crash, fatality, DWI, whatever you're working. We just want the video. Okay, do your whatever you got to do, protect your criminal evidence, but make a policy for producing the prima facie facts about the case. The video, for example, which we could all use. So I have a case which we won. It's been about 6 months ago where HPD went to the scene, and then we put a team out there. We found 2 cameras they didn't find because we're just got more time. They're busy. They're overloaded. Nothing detrimental about them. They did a good job on the criminal. Guy got run over by a wrecker. And they did a good job because their point is the criminal case. Well, that's not my point. My point is holding the premise that called the wrecker and the wrecker driver liable for running over the client. Well, we found 2 cameras, and one of them showed the entire event that nobody had.
So we talked MVAs, motor vehicle accidents. We've talked dram shop, liquor liability cases. Tell us about Timberwalk, unique to Texas, that you guys can bring some real value to people on both sides.
Most
Timberwalk meaning negligence cases for the criminal acts of third parties.
Right. So most people on this podcast are going to know, get the crime stats. There's a step for this, winning these cases. One is to get the crime stats, find out all the violent events that happened at that property.
Which is what? Start with calls for service?
Yep.
And then filter that out.
And then filter through the violent events. And then go talk to the people that had violent events that are similar to yours. Whatever your problem is, ingress, egress, security, lighting, no background checks on people that are allowing in there, not checking tenants that are staying with other parties, illegal access, gang activity, whatever your premise is for your case. Go work through those parties and get them to corroborate your case. I don't have any security. Well, I live in this unit 2 doors down. I had crime at my apartment, similar crime. I told the apartment complex. I wrote them a letter. I sent them a text. I did all this information. I notified them. They did nothing. Find 10 people who say that exactly like your case, you're going to get a settlement. We do them the other way for the defense people. We find that the person who committed the crime is gang-related, and gang-related events are going on this property. And there's nothing you can do about it. We've had security. We've done all these things. You can't stop a gang-related crime.
And these are naturally tough cases, but you're helping get the I guess, the evidence, just to make sure that you have something. Give the property owner notice,
Well,
right?
the one, it was not a good case when we got it.
Wait to see if it's one of mine.
Big parking lot. It's not, but somebody you know. It's a big parking lot. 6 units on this side, 6 units on this side. They all look the same. They're all gray. They all got 4 apartments in each one. That's 6 on this side of the parking lot, 6 on this. The shooter comes and shoots the person on this unit. There's drug activity going there. So we find the person in the unit 2 doors down, looks just like it, and they went to the wrong unit and shot the person. So we find the person who's head of CPS, she's used to testifying. She comes in and says, yeah, we find her. And she says, I got a drug dealer above my apartment. And I've reported it, umpteen times. And I have emails, texts, letters I wrote. The exact same scenario is going on up above me. I've reported it. And she had text evidence that she reported it. So it's a pretty low crime unit, but that was enough to make the Timberwalk standard, that she had reported it. Oh. They knew, they should have known, not they should have known, they knew, and that they'd done nothing about it. So then we find the maintenance people that no longer work there, and they testify that we put in requests for lighting, we put in requests for security, we've reported these events, nothing's been done about it. The management people came in and bought a bunch of units in this part of the country, and they're just making money. They're not providing security, they're not providing lighting, they're not doing all this. So you couple that kind of testimony with the witnesses saying that this is going on and they know about it, and then you have the former employees who testify about the problems and that upper management knew about it and they did nothing about it, which is the standard for Timberwalk. We do them the opposite way too. We find the maintenance people who testify that every time I put in a request for lighting, it got put in. We had great security, they were there. And you can't stop a determined criminal. And if you can prove for the defense side that they did these, every time they got a complaint, went up to corporate, they reacted. The same thing happens in the reverse for the defense. Or if you can prove that the crime was a crime that you could not have prevented, that you didn't know about, that had been no history of that, then that's the same format you're using for the defense. But you have to get guys on the ground to go do all that. Otherwise, you just show up with the police report. And when you bring the evidence one way or the other, most cases don't go to trial because you have enough evidence that there'll be a resolution.
I think one thing you guys do that I like is the benefit of hearsay statements that an expert can rely on. I don't want to go out and depose a bunch of tenants as a plaintiff for obvious reasons, but if I can get some evidence of, I got my cool rules, but I don't follow my cool rules, and I can get tenant conversation about rules that aren't followed, and then arm my experts with those statements that you guys will go take because I don't want to do anything, right? Because they're not going to talk to me anyway. I think that's a real value add on the plaintiff side of Timberwalk case.
Well, we do a lot of training on taking statements too. I mean, statements are evidence. So you want the things that help you in your statement. They teach this in cop school too. You only get the information in the statement that helps you win your case, and then you turn off the recording. Because why get a bunch of goobly gop that you guys are going to argue about in a deposition?
No, I agree.
Just take the evidence that's critical to your case. Yes, no, yes, no, yes. I saw the red car, ran the red light. The other car had the red light. We had the green light. Other cars going fast. We're going slow. Other cars messing up. We did everything right.
We all know a deposition can go south real quickly when they start getting a little wishy-washy. So those statements don't change, which is great. Right. No, that's phenomenal because you have a pretty solid staff of investigators, right?
Mueller has been with me 30 years. I got 2 other guys been with me 20-something years. So we've been around a long, long time. A lot of people know rules. We sit in a very unique spot. I get to work for the top plaintiffs bar in town. I get to work for the top defense people in town. We do a lot of IP work on you wouldn't think investigators do a lot of intellectual property work. We do tons of that.
Really?
Yes, it's really fascinating. Finding prior art, finding witnesses who, we work plaintiff and defense on those. It's really interesting how much witnesses need to be found, much prior evidence needs to be found. I love IP work. It's really fun. But bread and butter is the PI stuff, the car wrecks, the surveillance on the guys that are not hurt. Timberwalk's fascinating, dram shop's fascinating, and then it's real complicated auto crash cases. Who's responsible? Who are all the defendants? Who caused it? Who didn't cause it? I didn't mean to get in the process serving business, but we're in the high-end process serving business. So we advocate to everybody, if you got something's got to be served, man, use a process server. They're cheap and they can get it done. But if you really got to have somebody tracked down, you need a former law enforcement guy with 20 years experience tracking somebody down who's done homicides, gang cases. You need those quality people. If you got a deadline coming up, or sometimes not your fault, you get the case late in the game, somebody refers it to you, you get late in the game, or a defense lawyer gets brought in later in the process and didn't realize there was a third party that had to be brought in. The other thing that I see a lot of, and this is, so far we've all been talking about the front end on a case. So the other thing that I see go wrong at trial time is lawyers have tons and tons of motion in limine, your jury profile, all those things are going on, and then you need witnesses to come to the courthouse. I see lawyers and their paralegals reaching out and doing all this stuff. Too many times the witness didn't come, or the witness came upset because you subpoenaed them from work.
Well, they got $10.
So they got $10, right? So you gotta be real careful about that, okay? So you can reimburse a person for lost wages. You can reimburse them for the expenses that they've lost. But you can't pay people to testify. You just have to be real fair about it. And we accommodate that, but we tell the witness, be transparent. Tell the truth. If they say, did anybody give me any money? Yes, I make X a day. I got reimbursed for my day. Did you get any money for travel? Yes, I got paid 70.7
Well, lawyers should be asking that question too. You're here under subpoena. That $10 check isn't cutting your day off. What's your rate of pay? Have you been reimbursed? Am I buying your testimony? Hell no, I'm not. Let's go.
That's right. And all my people are trained to go through this process. It's a reimbursement. And if people say, I need $1,000 to show up, we're not doing that. You're going to get $10 and a subpoena. No, we're not doing that.
You mentioned something too that I've used you guys for, is in certain counties where you get juror cards the Friday before, which is awesome. If you're not taking advantage of that information opportunity, you're kind of losing it. What do y'all do for lawyers when it comes to jury research?
So we have a profile package that we create a digital dossier on every juror that, as much time as I have, sometimes you give it to me on Friday and my people hate me, but that's the way the business works. We create a digital dossier on every juror for as much information we can come up with. With their voter registration, are they Democrat? Are they Republican? Are they hunters? Well, are they conservative people? Well, plaintiffs don't want conservative people, as a rule. Defense people do. And so you're looking for a model juror for your kind of case. And so we can also find out if they have a felony conviction and they didn't tell you on there, or they don't live in the county. All kind of things that you can find wrong with the juror. Because what happens to you is when you get down to that moment, if you're a good trial lawyer, which all you guys are, your meter's already going. This guy's gone, I like this guy, I like this guy. You got 3 or 4 that you don't know. You don't know. So pull up your dossier.
I agree. And I think when it comes down to the last 2 you're firing, that information matters.
It's critical.
Yeah.
So we'll run all 30 of them, or however many is on your panel. But at the end, you're going to get these 2, 3, 4.
What are you pulling? Social media?
Yes, again.
Omar's old MySpace page is lurking out there somewhere. But Instagram,
don't listen to the music.
Facebook, LinkedIn.
Corporations, deed records, what's the value of their house?
Yeah.
How much, if they're living in a $2 million house, they're living in a $200,000 house.
Yeah.
Are they driving a pickup truck? Are they working at the refinery down the corner, or are they an accountant, or are they a professional person? And you're looking for a type of juror. And not, just because they're an accountant doesn't mean they're not your juror. There can be a lot of other things about that person that you like. And so that dossier, rather than just being, I'm going to throw a dart on the wall or go by my, whatever instinct I have, you need information on that person. It's critical.
So when a clerk gives us those cards, in certain counties in Texas, we get them in advance. Houston, we don't, unless you're doing a questionnaire. They just Lawyer just sends them to you and say,
send me the whole list.
Give me the deal.
And I need some advance notice because I got to pull my people together.
Yeah.
And we got a protocol for everything we run. What property they own, what litigation have they been involved in, what their social media. We pull up their social media.
These are vendor databases that you subscribe to that pulls this information
social media
faster.
databases we use. Some of it's hand search, depending on how much time I have. And then I give that to you. It's a folder. Here's your 30 jurors. Each name has got a pocket by them, and the 28 don't matter, 27 don't matter. The 3 that you're trying to pick at the end, pull those over and start looking through them.
Yeah, and for those younger attorneys, there's always in voir dire when you're done. You come down to who's going to be better, and you have to go pick through, and you're like, they didn't say a word to me.
Right.
I'm going off of what the limited information I have, so that's where it really comes in handy.
I don't know how, but I've been on 3 juries. People have left me on 3 juries.
I don't know.
I don't know how, but so, first off, I'm number 3 panel. This is a great little war story. I'm number 3 on the panel, so I've got to get struck. And so I'm sitting there, and the plaintiff's attorney gets up. I've actually been on a voir dire where nobody asked if they knew me or my client. That was not asking voir dire, but not in this case. The plaintiff's attorney gets up, does his voir dire. Does anybody know me or my client? Hey, Kevin, what's going on? And when the other lawyer says, hey, Kevin, if you're the defense lawyer, you should probably strike me. Okay, but so he says, I owned a big court reporting company at the time. And he said, have you ordered any records on this company? Have you done any investigation? I don't know anything about your case. So I guess, can you be fair and impartial? Sure, I think I can. So then the defense attorney gets up, he's doing his thing, and he goes, anybody know me or my client? Like, he goes, well, I don't know you. I go, yeah, but your client is a big trucking company. I've had a dozen cases for your client through other law firms.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, can you be fair and impartial? I go, yeah, I guess. So guess what? I got left on the panel.
Wow.
So, and the most fascinating thing about that was what happened back in the jury room.
Yeah, did you get foreman?
Fascinating. No, I didn't want to be the foreman.
Okay.
Because I
Did
wanted
they ask you to be the foreman?
They did want me to be the foreman.
How does that work? Y'all just sit around and does someone show up and say,
So
I
here's
want to
some
do it?
fascinating stuff. So
I don't
this
have a damn
was
clue how it works. Do you know
this
how it
was
works?
back when
little something.
DWQs came in binders, and there was a stack of them on the floor this high. It's a car wreck case. There's a stack of them on the floor, and the first to sit down, people are like, we don't have any evidence there's been any medical records in this case at all. These are the jurors. I'm looking over going, a stack of DWQs this tall on the floor.
Yeah.
What do you want to see? Hospital records? So they didn't even realize that the medical records were right there for us to review. If I would have been in the room and said, look, guys, there's the medical records. I mean, I don't know why anybody explained to them. The funniest part, just my own personal perception, is there's a guy on the jury, and he's got a cane, and he's wearing an arm neck sling. I'm thinking, dude, I don't know why anybody left that guy on the case. If you're the defense attorney, he's hurt, and he was hurt in some type of work case. So don't put that guy on the jury if you're the defense person. But he walks in the room. We haven't sat down yet, and the first thing he says is, nobody's getting any money. I don't care what anybody else in the room says. Nobody's getting any money. This is all malingerers. He's not hurt. Nobody's getting any money. We haven't even sat down yet. And he's the hurt guy. That my first impression was, well, he's going to be an advocate for the plaintiff. So that's the truth about the voir dire and the process, is that guy sat there the whole time, never said a word, never said anything. And then when he got in the jury room, he...
Probably, chances are he didn't get any money for his injury.
That's what it was.
And so it's one of those. It's amazing. Just
right. But Will's right. If you have an opportunity to get a dossier on your jurors, even if it's limited, and it gives you something to look at other than the guy who sat there and said not a word during any of your questions.
Is that a flat fee or is that an hourly deal?
We give you a budget before you go.
Okay.
Depending on how much time you give me and how many people you have to go. So we budgeted, it runs 10 to 30, depending on how many people you have. If I only got 3 days to do it, you can't. So we just budgeted based on the number of hours that is put into that work.
I can easily afford $30.
Yeah, maybe 10.
Maybe.
Well,
For you, Omar.
Thank you.
As to the defense bar, I learned my lesson. I had very skilled associates. They were awesome, worked hard, and I set them out with our jury sheets to save some money once for an insurer. And the criteria I gave was misinterpreted or not valued, or I had different effort and it was a weekend and I had some hangovers and some non-hangovers, and I got not consistent data across the entire 60 persons on the veneer.
Right.
That I just said, one uniform approach, one established protocol, given my data, it would have been much better.
Well, you got people that do that every day.
Yeah.
They research every day.
When you got access to databases that put in John Smith, Dallas, Texas, ain't going to work.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And people, the real key is, people can go on social media and look, and everybody will do it. But the collection of it and putting it in a format that you can use, you just have a limited amount of time to make your choices. And it's do or die. All of you realize that one wrong juror on your panel is enough to kill your deal.
I know we're getting close to the end of time, but one thing you talked about was these motor vehicle crashes, these commercial motor vehicle crashes, but I think when we had breakfast the other day, you mentioned that you're finding kind of brokers, or you're seeing who works for who on these trucking cases. Do you guys look up, like, you know, the kind of the lineage, who hired these truckers, who may have been the parent company, so you can find more insurance or more money, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so can you kind of tell us what the importance is, or how you guys go about doing that without spilling the
Well, mostly
complete
it's
tea?
just good old-fashioned gumshoe work. You just look back through their history of claims, because almost all these companies have had multiple vehicle crashes before.
Yeah.
So you look back and find their prior claims, go through the discovery. The lawyers who are involved in those cases are usually, if you're a plaintiff or a defendant, they're usually cooperative with you. So we find the history of the prior claims, and then you call that lawyer and go, hey, what? Or maybe it's in the pleadings or the discovery already about that history. That's the easiest way to do it.
Because what I'm noticing a lot right now is that you're seeing the minimum federal insurance of the $750, $500, or the $1 million,
Right.
but you have injuries that are way beyond that, way more catastrophic, and you're trying to find more insurance to cover them, at least, you know, help the plaintiff out. And there's now this broker liability is always the hot topic, so you're able to help with that as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still just good old-fashioned gumshoe
Yeah.
research. You research, find all the other cases. If I'm working for the plaintiff, we might be able to involve to call some of the people that drive for them and give us some information. As long as they're not represented by counsel, we can call the parties that are involved and, you know, try to find out that relationship. And then it doesn't always, as you know, it doesn't always mean you got insurance, but it could.
Yeah.
It could happen to you.
It can help.
Right, facilitate that. But the part that I was talking about, that I see, we do tons of trial work, and I've got a big group of guys. Remember the E.F. Hutton commercial? Don't leave. What is it? The Don't Leave Home Without Me. American Express.
Oh, yeah.
So we're the trial people. Don't go to trial without us. You know, if you're really going to go, you know, a lot of people, a lot of great trial lawyers do some fantastic stuff in their trials. They might be watching the other side. They might be tracking where the other parties in the case are going. They, when you get a witness, man, geez, don't send your paralegal out there to do that. Send a guy that's used to talking to them. You can go do the lawyer things that you need to do. Okay, at some point you need to meet the witness. But all of the leg things that happened before, to go get them, to load them up in your car, to facilitate whatever problems they have. I got to get off work. My wife says I can't go. You know, my back hurts. I can't sit around. Whatever the problems are, you don't need to be doing that. You need a person that's used to interviewing people, that knows how to solve those problems. And then by the time they get to you, not only that, hopefully we've been able to advocate for you. You know, my guy's really hurt, or either way, for the defendant. This is a bogus case, and you don't want people to get, you know, some money if you don't come forward and tell the truth. So
Call your next witness, and you don't have a next witness is
That's
not
right.
a good conversation to have with a judge. And it has happened before. And then you're like, Judge, can we play a video?
Yeah.
Why we wait for our witness who's not here? Because we didn't hire Pipkins. We
Right.
had our folks do it
And
ourselves.
we
to save a couple $100.
That's right. And we know when we're getting, if you got to sit on the porch with them and talk about the flowers or their T-bird, then you got to do that until the person, and you got to know, you really got to profile people well. You know, if they're a Trumper, then they want to talk about this. If they're a liberal person, they want to talk about that. You know, and you got to take your hat off and wear those.
We will
period of time.
save jury research day for the Trumper juror, because I have completely migrated from I don't want Trump jurors as a plaintiff's lawyer to not jump into that conclusion.
Automatically, yes.
Yeah, because it is not the same thing it used to be.
That's right.
Trump jurors and Bush jurors are not the same jurors.
That's exactly right. And it's not just, okay, well, he's a hunter, he's a conservative person, I don't want that guy on my panel as a plaintiff's attorney. It's just not that easy. There's a lot more to the profile. They may vote Democrat, you don't know. And then, so as a plaintiff or defense attorney, there's just more to it than, you know, social media shows that they're a conservative. I'm a plaintiff, so I don't want him on my panel. Or vice versa, you're a defense lawyer, and you know, their pride or their whatever, they're a Bernie person. Well, that may not be that simple. You just have to look deeper into that, and it might be the lesser of two evils. You know, when you're making your choice. And
No, it always is.
Yeah.
Omar, the optimist, said, "Which one's going to be better?" My decision between firing 6 and 7 is always which one's going to be least terrible.
We also do a lot of jury polling when we have permission to do that, and you guys know this better than me, because I've been on some jury panels. it comes down to one or two people on the panel, almost always. Almost.
It's amazing. We do some focus groups, and it's just phenomenal to see what they pay attention to. You're like, I would have never
what they
said.
miss, yeah.
Would never would have thought to focus on this issue.
That's
Yeah,
right.
because you're a lawyer and you got confirmation bias and you're married
Yeah.
to the facts that you think are awesome without stepping back and seeing for people that hear it for the first time and see it for the first time what they think about it.
Exactly.
And it hadn't been on their desk for 2.5 years.
You know, it seems to me a little older generation, but you know, you shouldn't pass anybody on the right-hand side. You always pass on the left. You don't pass on the right. And I was like, really? And so that, you know, in my head, any opening I have, I pass.
Take it.
I'll take it. But that was like, we had it all on video, and they're like, well, your plaintiff shouldn't have passed on the right. I was like, good to know. You know, doesn't matter there, but you know, we really appreciate it, Kevin. Anything else? You know, how do you get in contact with you if you want to?
My last name is Pipkins. I'm the only PI in Texas with the name. I know most. You know, we've been around 40 years. Most people know us as.
Yeah.
This is a nationwide audience, Mr. Pipkins.
Okay.
So it's at pipkins.com. What is it?
PipkinsPI.com.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, because it might reach my friend in California that I might send
Well,
it
we
to.
do. I got
Yeah.
maybe in LA Friday on a case, so you never know.
Very nice.
Great.
Well, no, thank you for your time today.
I appreciate you inviting me.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin.